Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of like, I don't know, vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic?
Rachel Zegler breaks down as Disney takes things to a whole new level, asking her to cough up $130 million in brand damage. Yep, you heard that right. $130 million. This isn't some rumor floating around Twitter. The loss isn't just sitting on Disney's books anymore. Nope. Rachel's being dragged into the fire too. And this time, she might not walk away with just a PR cleanup and a tearful Instagram post. See, Rachel didn't just star in the film, she became the face of the chaos. After using the press tour to push her personal beliefs, she said things that made Disney's traditional fan base hate her. The Snow White remake bombed. And not in a fun way. Not like a movie that becomes a cult classic. This one crashed hard, with no recovery in sight. And Disney? Oh, they are not pretending everything is okay. They're making moves.
The thing they spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had. Even the one that was their worst, Dumbo, did better than this has done.
Word on the street is that a secret emergency meeting happened behind closed doors at Disney headquarters. And guess whose name was being tossed around like a hot potato? Rachel's. Insiders say the energy in that room was tense. But one thing everyone reportedly agreed on was that Rachel Zegler is no longer an asset. She's a full-blown liability. And Disney wants payback. Cold, hard financial payback.
She's a PR nightmare. I don't know how anyone would hire her.
Now, they might not be going after her with pitchforks, but they are allegedly looking to recover their losses by any means necessary. That includes canceling back-end deals, snatching back those fancy bonuses, demanding some kind of apology tour, or worse, exploring legal action. It's not all public yet, but let's just say if Rachel thought things were rocky before, this is the real earthquake. Rachel is in complete shock. Reports say she was holding back tears, visibly shaken after learning about how deep this financial disaster really goes. This was supposed to be her big break. Instead, she's caught in a real-life Hollywood horror story. Sources close to the actress claim she had been assured this role would catapult her into the A-list, that she would be the next face of Disney. Well, not anymore.
And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Let's talk about how we got here. Snow White was supposed to be a modern fairy tale retelling, a fresh spin, a bold reimagining. Disney poured millions into it. They planned it for years, brought in big names, and went all in. But then, disaster after disaster hit. First, a fire broke out on set, like an actual fire. Then, the Hollywood strike stalled everything. Scripts had to be rewritten. Scenes had to be reshot. Budgets went flying off the charts.
Apart from all of the political controversy started by the actress, so the movie had all kinds of problems creatively and conceptually, but there's no doubt that she drove the final nail into this movie's coffin. She probably drove the final 2 or 3 nails into the coffin.
What started as a $170 million project ballooned to a jaw-dropping $270 million. That's right. An extra $100 million was added to this flaming train wreck. But the reality is that the cost of making this movie was close to $500 million.
So $43 million on a budget of $250 million. And keep in mind, as you always have to keep in mind with these kinds of numbers, that the production budget is not anywhere close to the full budget of the film. There's also a marketing budget, which is often the same as the production budget, if not more, which means that the total amount that Disney probably spent on this Snow White adaptation was probably closer to $500 million.
Then came the real bombshell. The movie premiered and nobody showed up. Theaters were empty. Fans were confused. Longtime Disney lovers were outraged. People walked out wondering what they had just watched. Where was the romance? Where was the charm? Where was the happy ending that everyone grew up with?
As a good reporter, I went to check it out myself yesterday here in Shanghai. Now, including myself and my friend, the entire IMAX cinema had just 5 audience members.
Instead, they got a completely different Snow White. This version didn't want a prince, didn't need a man. Now, nothing's wrong with a strong female lead, but it felt more like a lecture than a movie.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Fans didn't connect. Critics were baffled. And the box office reflected that disconnect loud and clear. To make it worse, Rachel couldn't keep quiet. During press runs, she slammed the original Snow White story, calling it outdated and weird. She even implied that the romantic storyline made her uncomfortable.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
You can't bite the hand that signs your $1 million checks and expect them to keep writing them. Social media exploded. People accused her of being arrogant, ungrateful, and out of touch. Disney had to bring in a whole social media team just to keep her posts in check. They tried to help. They really did. But Rachel didn't want to listen. She kept tweeting, kept talking, kept pushing, and now here we are. In the middle of a PR nightmare and a financial landslide.
And then they had to hire a special media consultant for her to follow her around all the time and make sure she didn't continue shitting on Snow White and the prince and young love and women who want to get married and Steven Spielberg, the executive producer of her previous movie, and white people who she claims wanted to know if she was really a Latina on her first movie. Like, the list was really long.
And here's the kicker. This wasn't just a movie. Snow White is a legacy, a cultural touchstone. It's a fairy tale that has lived in the hearts of generations. And here comes Rachel, trying to rewrite it like she's the new queen of Hollywood. Spoiler alert, she's not.
Maybe not destroy a classic from my childhood and put an actress in there that not only hates the plot and the storyline of the movie she's in, but also seemingly hates Snow White, the character herself.
Sources are now saying Disney is officially done with her. They don't want her in press events. They don't want her in future projects. And if the $130 million restitution talks are true, then she's not just being iced out, she's being held responsible in a very real way. That's not a slap on the wrist. That's a career wake-up call. To make things even juicier, TV host Bill Maher didn't hold back. He straight up roasted Rachel on air for dragging the original Snow White, called her tone-deaf, called her out of line, and he's not alone. Tons of Hollywood vets are quietly whispering the same thing. Rachel might have blown the biggest opportunity of her life.
The controversies surrounding Disney's Snow White remake show that we are still in the thick of the culture wars. Oh, have we been following the Snow White?
Actually, the first I'm hearing of this.
It's a tough pill to swallow. 1 minute, she was the chosen one. Next, she's getting pushed out the back door, possibly with a giant bill in hand. If Disney really does demand $130 million from her, how is she gonna pay? Because her net worth is around $3 million. So the big question now, should she be held financially responsible? Should Disney chalk it up as a failed project and move on? Or does Rachel deserve some of the blame for helping burn it all to the ground with her attitude and comments? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get into it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, because this Hollywood drama is far from over. And something tells me this isn't the last we're going to hear about Rachel Zegler and the Snow White disaster. The plot is thickening.